Bomba data, 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 bomba data.
Happy trails, everybody. Here we
Happy
are.
trails.
Yes, this is our 30 something, 33rd episode of Happy Trails.
Is it really
So,
33?
yeah, I think it's 33rd, and that would be a milestone. It's one more than last week.
And one more than 32.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
hey,
That's a milestone.
They call it double threes.
I think we're going to celebrate as opposed to double nickels,
Yeah, double nickels,
double triples,
double triples,
double triples.
something like that.
Yeah, awesome. And this is our final episode, or not episode, but this is our last of our string of property analyzer chats that we're going to talk about. And so we're going to kind of summarize everything. We'll left one thing out. We'll go over that real quick, and then we'll roll into the property analyzer. Just kind of summary and just, overview. Make sure you guys are understanding what this thing can do for you, because it is super powerful. I mean, this is important and powerful.
Yes.
And
who's got your money?
It'll tell you that. It will show you that,
and it will show you where is the money.
Where is the money?
Yep. Ooh, that was good.
Yeah, that's because I got a little bit of a cold.
A little rasp going.
A little bit of a cold. So
that was deeper than I've ever heard from you.
Yeah. Well, I used to sing the Oakers Boys.
Did you really?
Yeah. Bop, 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 mow, mow. Elvira. Elvira. If you guys know what Elvira is, shout out to all the Elvira fans from the Oakridge Boys.
Let me see how many fans are. Bueller. Nope, not one. Not a one.
No, there's somebody out there that knows. Somebody knows.
That's funny. You must be on the Moscow Mule this afternoon.
No, not at all.
Nope, that's coffee. Hey, welcome everybody. Last episode before we go for Christmas break.
Yeah, because today's Christmas Eve.
I've heard that.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Yep.
So I was texting Matt and we're like, hey, should we do this today or tomorrow? And he goes, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And I was like, thank you, Captain Obvious. I just, I'm glad you clarified that for me.
Well, I just want to make sure, because honestly, the last day in the office for me was Thursday. And I looked up that afternoon. I was like, crap, Christmas is Monday. Like,
yeah,
that's serious.
Yeah.
A lot going on, man. The time is just flying.
Rolling.
So here we are. We got Christmas Monday. I'm off all next week, which is going to be wonderful. Blaine's off at the end of the week. He's working a couple days and then family vacay. That's nice.
You got it.
And then we come back be the beginning of the year. I don't start back till, let's see, I'm going to go in on the 3rd and prep a full mouth case. But
nice.
Kicking the year off right.
Somebody is out there ready to get some new teeth for the year.
Somebody's ready to smile, which is nice.
Get that smile rolling.
Yep. And I got to do one consult this next week after Christmas to lock in some action. Just
all good. Right. Nice.
And then we got some team training going on, and then we got team celebration and kick off the year with our planning session and what we call an advance. We call that an advance. You know why we call it an advance, Blaine?
Because it's before something.
No, because we're always moving forward. Where most people hold a retreat and they go backwards. We hold an advance. That one's free. That one's free for all of you listeners.
There you go. Words are powerful, Matt.
Words are
powerful. They're things, and they're powerful. They mean lots of stuff, and they put a mindset, and they put everybody's got their way of thinking, and when you use the proper words in the proper way, you can really change the mindset of your coworkers.
You can change the world.
Investor. You
can change the world.
Yeah. True. Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do. So we're wrapping up.
Hey.
We did page 3
Yep.
of the analyzer, and you've discovered that we skipped something last week.
Yep. And I'm going to show you. You got the screen share up there, Matt?
I got it.
Looks like it's on there. And again, I think it's cutting when we video, it cuts off the left side. I apologize for that for you guys out there, and I can't figure out how to do it. So send us an email or call or whatever if you can figure that out and let us know, so that next time we go through this, it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But we're not going to redo this all, because as we'll do it eventually. Maybe we get a property, we'll go through this with the property that we're looking at investing in. We'll show you guys and stuff, and you'll have a little experience if you've seen these episodes. So that'll be great. But
by the way, what the Fed say about rates?
Fed, it's a kind of exciting, man. It's I've heard numerous reports from different people different companies predicting. Fed's basically said we're holding steady
right now,
and they're holding steady now, and they're coming down next year.
Yep.
They didn't say how much, of course. They're going to keep it a secret. But so they didn't really say how much, but they said they're going to be stepping it down, numerous drops in interest rates. And so again, that is, I guess, it's good news. I mean, it helps some of the deals, the deal flows, and they're easier to work if your interest rates are lower. It just doesn't cost as much to do that. So
where are we at right now? What's the Fed at right now? Do you know?
The prime rate or whatever is like 5.5 to 5.5 or something like that.
I thought it was 6, but
yeah, maybe 5.5.
Could
Let's
be,
go
yeah.
5.5 to 6.
Okay.
But
6.
I mean, the last 10 years, it's been down around 0 to 1. I mean, so it's been like, and so obviously that's substantially higher. And then you got your rates on top of that, your increases on top of that for the companies that are loaning money and stuff. But yeah, they're looking at dropping it at 1.5 to 2 basis points. So instead of 5.5, you're looking at maybe 4 by the end of next year, and then down to 3-ish. That's not what the Fed said. That's what some of the experts and some of the big companies out there who loan money out, and they're talking about that. So again, it's going to be kind of a slow, predictable decline. The increase was so fast that it just freaked everybody out. Nobody knew what the hell to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're freaking out. But the decline sounds like it's going to be fairly predictable, fairly consistent. And so being predictable and consistent makes people comfortable. They like predictability, Matt. They like it.
And when they see rates going down, that just promotes people to buy.
And so people are going to get off the sidelines. And and from what I hear, there's a ton of money out there that's just kind of waiting in the wings.
If you're doubting that there's money out there, I'm just going to encourage all of you, just take a trip to the Costco. Just go to the Costco and just walk around and look at everybody scrambling to fill their carts, 2 carts, 1 cart, 2 carts with just, I don't even know what, but money. If you ever doubt the economy is not thriving, just go to a place like that and pay attention. You'll be absolutely amazed. There's more money right now, obviously, when you throw trillions of dollars into the economy with no recourse, but there's money out there to be spent and money to be had. So just encouraging all of you next year, when everybody else gets off the sidelines, maybe it's time for you to get off the sidelines too and make some things happen for you and your families.
Yeah.
But
and we're hopefully gonna have some deals that we can help you invest into. So we're still talking to our friends and our people and getting things going, and it'll happen.
Yes,
be ready. And until then, what are you going to do? Educate yourself.
Yep. That's the best thing you can do.
What better to invest in than yourself and your knowledge, your experience, your expertise. I mean, learn as much as you can. And that's what we're doing. And Matt and I are like, hey, Matt's been teaching dental stuff for years and years and years to other dentists, and me included. And so, one of the things, if you can teach something then you probably have a pretty darn good understanding of it. And so that's one of the reasons we like doing this, is because we're teaching people. It helps us to make sure we know what we're talking about. And, you know, we always BS our way through it if we don't. Just kidding, everybody. Okay. You know, so I mean, that gives us some confidence, you know, that we know what we're talking about. We know what's going on. And so, yeah.
Blaine has a terrible poker face, by the way. You'll absolutely know when Blaine's lying because he can't hold that face straight when he's BSing you. There's no way. Looks like that. Looks like that. Yep. Anyway, run through that analyzer, dude. Let's go through this one. So,
Pardon me. Hey, so we're on, this is page 4. We talked about the first 3 pages in the first 3 episodes, or the last 3 episodes. But the one thing we almost space it off, is the sponsor, the contract, or how much the sponsor is going to get. Sponsors are the GPs, right? They're the general partners. They're the ones that put the deal together. They do all the work. They do all the work before the property is purchased. They do all the work to get the property closed. They do all the work in managing it after it's closed, and you're trying to work the CapEx in there, trying to get the CapEx built into your property to increase the rents. And so they get a cut of the increase in value. And these cuts can be put together in about 400,000 different ways, Matt, maybe.
Yep. Yeah.
Something like that. There is so many different ways. But I think that the thing we want you guys to be aware of is that legally and ethically, the sponsors need to let you know where the money's going. And if you property value increases $1 million and they sell it, and there's $1 million profit, who gets what? Okay.
Yep.
And so this sponsor page shows you this is pretty generic, this sponsor page. So there's a lot of different ways to figure these out and to put them together. And this basically, you look here, it says promote percent to sponsors, 20%, equity percentage down here says 80. And that's kind of a classic amount. I mean, that's just pretty, I would call it standard. Doesn't always go that way, but this is kind of a middle of the road. And so what does that mean? If you property gains $1 million in value from when you buy it to when you sell it, 20% of that, in the math, 20% of $1 million,
200,000.
Hey, Matt, right on. 200,000 goes to the general partners, and the other 800,000 goes back to the LP investors. Okay, and so this is all figured into this analyzer, which is actually great. I mean, it's awesome that the analyzer has this in here. But sometimes these numbers, they vary. You know, it's 20/80. Sometimes it's 70/30. But sometimes it's 70/30 only after the LPs are paid back their initial percentage.
Yes.
So you know, if somebody invests $100,000, and once they're paid back that 100,000, the GPs don't get any compensation until the LPs are paid back their initial investment, and then they split it 70/30. So again, sometimes it's straight up from the beginning, and it's split 20/80 no matter what, or whatever, 10/90. Sometimes the GPs will be like, you know what, we want to make sure our LPs are paid back first, and their initial investment, and then we'll take our profit. And if we do our job, we'll get paid just fine. If we don't do our job, at least we're getting the LPs back their initial investment, so they're not losing money. And to me, that's a sponsor, and some GPs that are taking care of their LPs. I mean, that's, you know, you're investing a lot of money with these GPs guys, and you want to make sure they, you know, have who's your best interest in mind, right? I mean, we're trying to make a profit here, and you know, the LP investors are so key.
I like the fact I like when the deals pay off the LPs first, because it kind of shows the importance of the money that was given to them up front to help run the deal. And one of the things that as an LP, you may be looking at that percentage and going, well, crap, they're only going to split 20% amongst the LPs, and the people that put it
GPs.
together get 20% to the sponsors, and everybody else splits the other way. Well, gosh, that's not a lot of money. Well, 20% split 4 ways is 5% of a much bigger chunk than the 80% that's coming off of whatever percentage you put into the total. So, that's something that, it means a lot when you're able to do that. And it means a lot when you're paying off your LPs first, because you want those people traveling with you, the next deal, the next deal, the next deal. Because there's some people that just want to be LPs. They don't want
Right.
to, they don't want to sponsor the deal. They don't want to be involved. They don't want their name on anything. They just want to invest some money, get it out in 3 to 5 years and go from there. So, Blaine and I both talked about earlier in episodes where, for us, maybe the more important thing is the speed of money. So right now, the flow and the speed of money is much more important to me at 56 years old, rather than, I don't want to hang on to properties for 10 years to make money.
Right.
I don't want to have to wait 10 years to reward. 3 I'd take. 5 is a longer investment than I probably want at this stage, but I'm looking for things that are turning faster than that. So, and we'll talk more and more about that as we get into next year, because obviously we've jumped into a few other deals outside of apartments, but again, along the same lines, all of it makes sense and it all flows together when you start educating yourself and learning the things. It crosses all different types of real estate. So.
Sure does. So yeah, this page, it gives you a generic idea of sponsor and equity and stuff like that. And so it doesn't always, put together the real true numbers. And so it's kind of one of the downside. I think when they upgrade this this analyzer, which they've been talking about for a year, and I haven't seen a new one, but and just do some updates on it. I think they'll probably expand this page quite a bit to, so you can put different things in there, like, LPs get all the 100% until they're paid back, or sometimes they'll go, hey, if we obtain a 18% IRR on sale for the LP investors, then we get 50% of what's over that, or something like that. Anyway, it can get pretty complicated. So, but the GPs need to tell you how they're doing this, and that's usually in the OM.
Yeah.
If you look, there's usually a page there. It talks about that. So, but anyway, so we're going to go, we're going to leave this at 2080 because that's a good number. Seems pretty common. We're going to go back and we're just kind of summarize everything real quick, talk about this. Page 1 again was property data. And this is just, the address and how much what the sale price is. It talks about the LTV, or loan to cost, loan to value, how much loan you're actually getting from the bank, what percentage of the total price are you getting from the bank. You got your interest only if you're doing anything like that. And again, interest only can cut your payments down initially, your mortgage payments, which can help improve cash flow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So and the one thing I found interesting, Matt, is I play with this interest only number, and it doesn't affect the overall return a whole lot. I mean, whether it's 1, 2, 3 year interest only or 0, the overall return typically isn't affected much.
Really?
Which I found rather interesting. And we'll do an example. I can do an example of that in a second here. But we got our interest rate in here. This is 6.9%. I'm seeing anywhere from 6 to 8% on loans, depending on what your LTV is and who's giving you the loan and that kind of stuff at this point. Excuse me. Probably go down, a percent, maybe 1.5% in the next year. Yep. And again, that can make a big difference in cash flow and what the bank's looking at.
That kind of money in over time, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And then you got your rehab. Again, you can finance your rehab depending on how you want to do it. Finance rehab is up here, and that'll put it into the loan itself. Unfinanced rehab is basically part of your capital raise. So your LP money that comes in will help provide the unfinanced rehab. Again, good thing about this is that it does give you extra cash. And a lot of people probably could use a little extra cash now if they have a variable rate over the last year and a half and their interest rates freaking going nuts, right? So, it can be used for rehab, but if you get into dire straits, it might be nice to have that money. You can, we're going to pause a little bit, slow down, make sure we have enough capital, keep this thing going. And some of that money could be resourced to a different reason. But we got our units over here in the middle here. You put in how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms are in each unit, how many units of each one. The market rent is listed here. And again, market rent is actually the rent amount that you can get for a unit, and which doesn't always correlate to the amount of rent that you are getting per unit. So there's concessions. Some people maybe, hey, if you give $50 off, if you do the whole year, $50 off a month, if you do the whole year, market rent says it's 900. Well, then if you're giving somebody $50 off for concessions to get them in the door, your actual rent is $850. So market rent and actual rent are different. Keep that in mind. And then we got our pro forma, which is typically how much are we going to get after we rehab the place, after we make the place more valuable. And, what can we do with that? If we got a nicer place, are you going to get $150 more a unit because you got some nice utility or floors, you got nice countertop, appliances are looking cool and badass. And, people like go home and go, it's a freaking nice apartment. I like living here, as opposed to where I lived in college, Matt.
Yeah.
And
that was something. That was something.
Well, I mean, when you stick to the floor in the kitchen and have a hard time walking across there because your shoes are stuck.
I think there's a reason for that, though. But you could clean that, and that would change a lot of things.
I was like, Chris was she's my wife now, and my girlfriend. I'm like, come on over here and clean our floor. She's like, no, she wouldn't do it. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Can't get her to clean.
Yeah.
Anyway,
still can't.
All right. Jeez. So anyway, that's the pro forma rent is afterwards, and so we got all that going. Page 2 is all our basically it tabulates all the income you got in here. We got our other income in here, which is other stuff. Again, it was like if you're doing valet trash, if you have a what do you call those, the little fancy like doorbells and tech
Ring?
package. Yeah. You get a tech package where you can unlock your door from your car with your phone, that kind of stuff. Your thermostat is change your temperature when you're away from home. You're like, hey, I'm coming home. I need it to cool off because it's hotter than Hades here in Texas. You can cool it down, that kind of stuff. Tech packages usually cost extra because they're cool. And so those are all other incomes, covered garages or covered carports or reserved places for your car kind of thing. So that's all in here. You got your annual rent increase. And again, we got that from typically from a report like CoStar, who will predict that out and tell you where they think rents are going, and based on all their bazillions of information that they have. So we put all that in here. This numbered here down here, if everybody see this, called the reversion cap rate, is key. It's a very important, and that's your best guess on what the cap rate's going to be when you sell the place. And again, who knows? Nobody knows. You're just predicting it. So you add all that up, then you got your expense page, and we went over this last time. We have all these categories that they talk about, and again, your categories, every T12 has different categories on it. These are pretty major ones here. I mean, this is basically your T12 has most of these. So that's cool. And it's easy to transfer those numbers over. But we get all our expenses. Now, if you're doing your buyer pro forma expenses, some of those you can get quotes. And so more exact numbers. You can say, hey, I'm going to get this insured, how much is it? And you talk to your local State Farm rep. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think State Farm does that, but I was just thinking of the State Farm, their newest rep out there, Caitlin Clark, who's the best basketball player in college basketball right now, plays for the Hawks. Okay, maybe
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. I mean, she's awesome, and she's getting some cash. She gets some money from State Farm, but she's taking over Mahomes' place. But you can get your quote from your insurance. You can get property tax quotes, so you get a pretty good idea of what your pro forma is, or your best guesstimate on expenses, and all that added up, and then your sponsor percentages, all that added up. We'll go back to the first page. Gives you a number here, and these are the big numbers that we're looking at. Passive returns, 5-year total, and the 5-year average cash flow. All right. Passive return on this one, and I kind of went through the numbers. The best I did, just rehashed to make sure they were fairly accurate. And we're getting a 48% passive return, and that's in 5 years. Okay. Average cash flow is 3.1. Those numbers are pretty low. Those are not something I would get super excited about. Matt?
Yep.
Would you?
I would say, nah, I mean, probably not. Probably not. But hey, more money is better than less money.
Right.
Always.
It is. It is. And so, when we go through all these numbers and you're going, hey, okay, I got 48%. You're like, this thing was worth a shot, but I just don't see that the pro forma rents get much more than these. They aren't working. And, people are in this area of wherever this is, whether it's the Carolinas, Florida, Texas, Arizona, the rents have been stagnant over the last year, and just don't see them going up much. Just because they went skyrocketed 2 years ago, and so there's your rent increases. They got 4, 3, 3, 2 and stuff like that. That may be pushing it in some places. And so you're like, I feel like I'm aggressive on these, and I don't want to be aggressive, and I'm still only getting 48% return. Right. I would probably like this to be 80 or above. That's probably a guesstimate. When we first started getting into these investments, the numbers I was seeing in here, you're probably looking at, most of them were 100%. So when it says 100% 5-year return, that's basically 20% a year. In 5 years, they plan to double your money. Okay. So you put 100 grand in 5 years, they sell it. You get your 100 grand out, and then another 100 grand. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
At this case, you put 100 grand in 5 years, you're going to get 48,000 if these projections hold true. And remember, these are projections and they're guesstimations. So you're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, that's a hell of a lot better than the 3% I'm getting.
Yep.
For my 401k.
Well, I mean, the thing you got to remember, what's the vehicle right now where you're going to get more than 3%? Right? Where, like, really?
A CD.
Think about it. CD. Okay.
CD, at this point, you're getting about 5%. You can get one.
I was going to say it's going between 4 and 5
because interest rates are so freaking high.
Okay. Where are you going to get 6 or greater?
No.
Probably not many places. You'd be making a little bit riskier investment. But that is the truth. That's the truth of where we sit.
So cash flow at 3%. And the 3% is figured into your total return. Yep. So, I mean, that's not great either. Let's go back to this. And here's our cash flow as percentage of total investment. It has 1.8% first year, very low, 4%. I mean, that's pushing. Things don't go right, you're not positive at all here.
You could be in the hole.
Be in a hole, and you don't want to be in a hole. 4% second year. They were 6% third year. We're like, oh no, it's getting up there. Well, then you're like, it drops to 5, and then 5.5 for the next 2 years. It's like, wait a minute, how come this dropped down? Well, that's because we had interest only for 3 years. So we had our interest only for 3 years. So again, cash flow is better the first 3 years. So, and I was telling you about the interest only not changing the returns. If we're going to change this to 0 and we tab out, look at our return went from 48 something to 49 something. Not a big difference.
No,
not a big difference. Look at our cash flow first year, 0.3%. Well, the bank's going to look at that and laugh. Or that Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae are going to look at that and go, yeah, whatever. Go away. We are not giving you money for that. And so that's why interest only can be huge. And the SCR's debt coverage service ratio and banks and loan lending companies like that above 1.25 at this point. So yeah, they're not liking this at all. So you're going to have a hard time getting a loan. But yeah, these are these yellow numbers. This is the kind of the return, but that's what you're looking at. Yeah.
How do you like that?
How do I like that?
Yeah.
Well, I like that there's a number there.
Yeah.
But I don't like this. This doesn't get me too excited. Mm-hmm. I'm not rolling into this deal. I'm probably not looking very much further.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 11% return. It's not terrible. It's not, again, like you said, it's okay.
It's okay. But I mean, you're going to put your butt on the line for, what is it? The buy-ins was 11, 12 million. I don't know. To get that, I want to see more.
Loan amounts 12, and with the unfinanced rehab, you're looking at an investment of 8 million.
I want to see more return than that for putting that skin in the game.
And that in that return, again, that gives you you got to have, you're gonna go one way or the other, right? You're gonna go a little less, a little more. So you want to have more cushion.
Yeah.
Want to have more cushion in case something goes not quite as ideal. And we've talked about that in video and some of the issues that we've had in that property.
Yep.
And how that's affected the initial startup year on that. So anyway, so that's the deal. And then, like I said, you can see all the numbers that we got in this thing. I mean, it's pretty freaking detailed, gives you a heck of a nice analysis, much more so than the back of the napkin that we talked about. But and keep in mind, it's the information you put into this is what you get out, right? Yep. You put in solid, good information, you're going to get solid numbers, solid projections. If you put in half-assed numbers, you're going, I think this is it, and you haven't looked at the comps. I think the rent, you can get $1,000 rent, but you have no idea what the comps are doing. You're going to get a crappy number. Your numbers mean nothing. So you got to be pretty thorough if you're going to use this. And so, like I said, I use it and I'll go through this and I'll put in a bunch of numbers and I'll go, this is just the basics. And again, back of the napkin says, hey, this might be something to look at. And that takes you about 30 seconds. And then I go in through it to this, and I can put all these numbers in, within 45 minutes to an hour, and get some solid numbers in here. And then this turns out to be 40%. I'm like, okay, never mind. If this ends up turning out to be 90%, then it's like, all right, now we're looking at something. This has got some real potential. What do I need to do to really, really hone these numbers in? And that's when you really start looking at your comps. You start getting detailed. You have somebody walking the property. You get out there and you're talking to your expense guys. You're talking to your insurance guys. You're talking to tax people, the tax experts, and go, what can I expect for taxes? What can I expect for insurance? You talk to some management companies and go, hey, what do you charge? If I hire you, what are you charging me? And they'll be like 3%. You're like, okay, 3% of this is this. And so you got a pretty good idea of what your management company is going to charge. And so you can really get your expenses honed in and that kind of stuff. So again, it's just another step in the direction.
And I think charging whatever your management fee is going to be, higher, lower, whatever, that's one aspect, but what are they going to give you for it is so freaking important. I'd rather pay a higher management fee at 8% than get a deal at 5%. You know what I mean? And have them not do the kind of work they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. They got to have experience, man.
Yeah.
Even if they do have it, but that's a minimum, right? They got to have some experience working on the class of property that you are at, ABC. And in the area, if they're in the area, that's great. You don't want to pick somebody who is in Phoenix and you say, hey, can you manage my property in Texas? They'll be like, sure. They don't know what the hell's going on in Texas.
Yeah.
So they got to have some experience. And then again, even with that, you don't know how they're actually going to perform. So,
sure.
Then you just pivot, Matt.
Sure.
Then it happens. You're like, time to pivot, bros. We pivot. We do something a little different.
Pivot.
Right on.
Right on.
Awesome. So, hey, if anybody has if they come across any deals out there, you're listening, you're like, hey, I got this deal, this blah, blah, blah coming. Here's the OM. I'm thinking this might be worth it. Man, send it my way.
Yeah, let's look at it.
And I'll throw the numbers in here and do this stuff and get an idea of what this looks like and see what we come up with. Maybe we'll get a deal. So don't be afraid to if you guys are finding deals or you're looking at things and you want some help, we're happy to help. Like I said, that's what we're doing. Trying to help.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
As we learn. I think coming into this plan, going into 2024, I think one of the things that we'll talk about when we get back in the new year is just what are the goals that we all have for moving forward in any of this stuff,
Yeah.
What are your goals? Like, what's it like? How many is your goal next year to jump into 2 properties? Is your goal to jump into passively investing in 4 properties? Because I think you need to know that. I think you need to have an idea set in your mind before you move forward in it. And I think the more recognizable you can be to where you're wanting to go, then you can achieve those results and to the degree that you're willing to put in the time and effort, and energy, and money. And I think all too often people don't do that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get some accountability with the people that are following this crazy group and following along and learning along with us. Is what are your goals? I'd love to hear from you. We want to send it to us. Send us what your thoughts are. You want to learn more? What do you want to learn specifically? How can we help you learn different things? Because maybe the analyzer is a great thing, but maybe there's parts of the analyzer we need to break down further and we need to talk about. What's involved in just passively investing in a property. Do you just give up the money and walk away? Well, we've already talked about that. What if you jump into a co-GP deal and all of a sudden they need more money? What happens into that? So are they going to do a capital raise and everybody's got to put in money, or just the sponsors, or what's involved in that? I think this is going to be the last year where we're going to have to worry about the potential problems coming because of the rates and the spending. I think next year is going to be gangbusters, guys. I really do. I think that in the next 3 years, it's going to be such a perfect time to jump in and get a hold of some of these properties. But more importantly, some of the things that Blaine and I have already gotten involved in the next 3 years, I think are going to hit big for us, which is going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited for that. I don't know if you're looking for that, Blaine, or not, but I'm watching the trends and I'm watching what people are saying. And I'm like, let's see, we've been involved 1 year. That's going to put us somewhere around 3 to 4 years. That's going to be perfect time to refi or sell. And I think we're going to end up on the better end of that. So I get excited about stuff like that.
I agree. Well, yeah, we'll talk about some goals. We'll talk about some goals coming up pretty soon for the new year and what our plans are.
Yeah.
And,
sharing that and certainly, is your goal to be eating some poi here in like the next week or so?
Poi.
Have you ever had poi?
I think I probably had some poi with you.
I don't know about that. Poi's nasty.
At the fish market?
Poi is nasty.
So that really is not a good selling point.
No,
I don't plan on having any now.
I think you should try it. You got to at least try it.
Hey, don't you love it when people are like,
yeah, this
oh my
is
God,
terrible.
This is terrible. Try this.
Yeah. Oh God, this is horrible.
Hey,
try it.
Sounds good. I would love to try that.
And the problem is most of us are like, oh yeah, let me try it. That is terrible. Oh God.
This tastes terrible. This tastes like
what if that was investing? Hey, this is such a terrible investment. You should jump in. Okay.
Let's
here's $100,000. Throw it in there. Let's
go. Oh man.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Right on, bros. Well, happy trails to everybody. Merry Christmas. Excuse me. And
what do they say in Hawaii, by the way?
Mele Kalikimaka is the thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day.
Yes.
And I won't be in Hawaii over Christmas. I'll be in Hawaii over New Year's.
New Year's, but I'm still excited for you. That's
so
one of my favorite places.
Still say I'll probably sing that song in my head, even though it's after
I think
Christmas.
you should. I think you should.
Yeah.
Don't even learn what Happy New Year's means. Just sing Mele Kalikimaka.
Yeah, it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Kind of like the fish. What's the famous fish in Hawaii?
Yeah, I can't say that one.
It's huma huma nuka nuka abawa'a.
Yeah, there you go.
You know that, bad boy.
Yeah,
I may have some of that.
Yeah.
I may go get some of that off the menu.
There
and
you
if
go.
I do, I'll take a picture of it and share it with you.
Please do. Please do.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys,
everybody.
for joining us.
Happy trails and
share this.
Merry
share
Christmas,
this with your friends. Let's get the word out. We're here to help. We're just here to help. That's
Merry
all.
Christmas and goodbye to 2023.
See ya.
See ya.
Adios.
We'll see you in 2024. Happy trails. Peace.
Hasta pronto.
Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song.